Hello and welcome to the May edition of That Saints podcast. We're here in the Eccleston Arms this week. New venue for us, thanks to Ruskin who are unavailable this week. I'm Graham Cunliffe, and with us today Ste Orford, Ady O Sullivan, Port Rigby and Ste Beech on the buttons. Hello chaps, how are we?
It's like deja vu this.
Evening, Graham. Okay.
Not so bad, mate.
All good chaps, okay, all good except after Saturday. Usually we start by reviewing the games that have gone past and the games to come over the next few weeks, but I thought we'd jig things around this month and have a look at where we are mid-season, given the news that Lewis Dodd has decided to depart to pastures new with a 3-year, 4 or 4 year deal, depending on which paper you read, with the South Sydney Rabbitohs, on the back of a couple of, well, let's be honest, batterings this month for the Saints by Warrington and Hull KR. Let's have a look at where we are, what we're doing, who we need, what we need, why we are where we are. So let's start with Lewis Dodd. Who wants to kick us off with a few thoughts on Lewis Dodd? I think Ady's looking at me like he's wants to have
It's got a pencil and paper and everything here.
Ady's prepared this week. There's something coming here.
Yeah, no, it's only a short one. I have signed up to the same agents as Lewis Dodd, and I make my debut for Brisbane Broncos in 2025
on 4 million a month.
I think like he's done very well to get this deal. I don't know if the NRL season will start next year, and similar to Saints in the past with the Morleys, and somebody suddenly realises they've signed the wrong Lewis.
Well, after Saturday there's certainly a possibility.
I'm bewildered by it, to be honest. On a personal opinion, this year and last, I don't think he was the best 7 at Saints.
No.
Do you think they've actually heard the sentence, "I've seen a Wally at Lewis"?
You can imagine, can't you, that some scout has gone over to the millionaire and said, "Oh, there's this cracking kid in the UK called Lewis something or something Lewis," and they've had a few sherbets round the barbie, and he said, "Right, go and sign him. There's the cheque, go and sign him." But he was good even before his injury, but there was nothing before his injury that would suggest to me that he's going to be an NRL scrum half. Because we've always said on this show, and a lot of people will agree, that I think the first prerequisite for playing in the NRL, is you've got to be granite tough and be able to tackle.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's not a tough lad. Obviously he's a tough lad, he plays Super League, but there's levels of toughness, isn't there? It surprises me. Believe it or not, I'm not overly disappointed. If he'd have been what we hoped he would be, if he had been to us what Mikey Lewis is to Hull KR, then I'd be devastated. But I'm not overly disappointed. I mean, like you say, if he can go and get himself some coin and life over there, then fair enough, let him go and do it. But I'm not overly disappointed.
I don't begrudge any young fella going over to the NRL with a contract, but the timing's a question for me. What are your thoughts on this, Stu? I think the timing stinks to me.
Well, the timing is all about the fact that he's out of contract this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's going to be announced. If it's going to happen, it'll be announced at some point this season. So I guess it might as well be now as anything else. If Eddie's right, it is just a case of, signing the wrong Lewis. It could have been worse. Could have signed Inspector Morse's sidekick, couldn't it? I'm not really surprised in one sense, but the points Eddie makes, it's a bit surprising that the NRL clubs would be, knocking at his door. But he did tell us, if you remember last year, shortly after the Penrith game,
that's right,
that he was going to go to NRL at the end of the season if he got a chance.
Yeah.
And obviously the offers come through and he's got a chance, so he's doing a good job. There aren't many English halves that have done a great job over there. I think of probably George Williams in recent years. That's probably the only one.
Well, he made a good fist of it, to be fair. I thought he'd be straight back, but I think he returned for family reasons.
The only point I would possibly disagree with Ady on, or maybe not disagree, but maybe throw into the conversation as a counterpoint is he playing that badly over the last year or two since that injury, or is it because it's coached? Is he being coached to be,
I can't argue either, Steve. I can't argue either, Steve.
I was going to come on to that as the next point there to lead into some of the issues that arise. And just sticking with Lewis Dodd, Paul, what do you fix? Where do you sit on this one?
When he came into the team, he was a great player, wasn't he? And he hit the ground running. Then he got injured, didn't he? And it took him a while to get back. But if you put him in that Penrith game last year in the World Cup Challenge, it was a different player to what we've seen the last 18 months. So like Steve just said then, is it an issue of, is he being coached to play the way he is at the minute? Because there's no coincidence that Mbai steps in a week or so before, and Mbai plays exactly the same way as Dodd did. He put the kicks into the corner.
Yep.
Exactly the same game plan as what Lewis Dodd did, but all the fans slagged Lewis Dodd off, but Mbai did exactly the same, but because it was somebody different, it was okay because it was Mbai. So
great points.
Is he getting coached that way, and all the fans getting annoyed? Do you know what I mean? I do like Lewis Dodd, but we haven't seen, going off weekend performance, he was awful. But he has got in his locker, and obviously I'm guessing the Rabbitohs have signed him off the back of what he did in the World Cup Challenge and early on in his career, rather than what he's done the last 12 months, 18 months.
Yeah, and as to add to that, and I've said it a number of times, that this season, week on week, he was getting better and better and better as to last year's performances. The point about coaching was something that I think Paul had mentioned that to me last week, the week before, when Moses came in, and it was like copy paste.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, and if Lewis Dodd goes to Australia and rips it up, then bloody good on him.
Yeah.
And almost saying to coaches, what are you doing?
You're not telling me that Dodd comes in every single week and puts that same kick to the corner time after time after time. That he's coached that.
I agree with you on the side of it's coached. The only thing that's disappointed me, and again we've all said this, that if you're going to coach that tactic and you're going to put the ball up, at least put some bloody sky on it. Get it out the stadium.
It's almost like he's going through the motions with it a lot of the time, because it doesn't go up high enough, and it doesn't create the pressure.
I mean, at least when Moses puts them up, he gets sky on them and he gets them spinning, like in the kind of way Blake Austin used to do.
Yeah.
But Lewis Dodd doesn't seem to do that. But he's obviously got much more to his kicking the game. I mean, Wellesby's one of the best short kickers in the game, and Moses has proved, he can kick. Darryl Clark can kick, but to Paul's point, it seems to be that same game plan, that same tactic. So I think Steve and Paul did that. The proof will be in the pudding. I hope for the kid's sake that he goes over there and with different coaching, he terrorises the NRL. Because I don't like the Aussies, as you know.
The other thing it could be is the injury. I mean, he could be worried about the injury still, but...
Well, do you know what? I was a bit gutted at Steve. Like you said, when the season started, he was taking the line on. He looked a different player than he did last year. He looked confident, he looked sharp. He only kicked one, but he even took a shot at goal as a conversion.
Yeah.
And I was ecstatic because of that. But in the last week especially, but he's just seemed now, and now you wonder, is he again, because of the injury, frightened of redoing something like that when he's got his
contract
future in Australia sorted?
Yeah.
We see the way that Luke Walsh changed his game when he had his terrible injury. Never the same player.
He wasn't, and he was stupendous when he that first 10 matches before he got hurt.
So
he was incredible.
The other thing is,
could be.
The other thing is, obviously, he's going to a team that are bottom of the ladder at the moment. So he's going in with massive amounts of pressure from that point of view, isn't he? I mean, it would have been even if it had gone to a top club, but to go, to a team where for starters, you've got to start moving forward just a little bit. If that doesn't happen, he will get hammered over there.
As you said, though, we will see, because if it is the injury, then he won't succeed over there.
No.
Or in fact, even less so over there, because it's a lot harder.
Well, let's deal with this elephant in the room, that this style of play that we've got now. If Lewis Dodd is being told, right, what you do is it's 4 tackles or 5 tackles up the middle, turn it back inside, kick it up into the corner, and trap the opposition down. It's not working anymore, is it?
for Saints.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I think that's because of the general lack of pace in the team. We're no longer able to, take those few chances we do create. I mean, I think if you think back to when we had Christian Wolf winning grand finals every year, I was even then saying this style of play is not worth watching. It's like we called it Wolf ball. It was boring. It was conservative, but he got it to work. I just think those players are now, one or two of them anyway, a little bit too far over that bump, if you like, and that's why it's not working for Wellens. And I don't think Wellens is totally to blame.
Yeah, I think the lack of pace isn't the reason that you do that little drop-off ball back inside again every third or fourth tackle. I mean, we've got the man Paul sat over there who's quite good on that side of the game, much more than us. But I think with Wolf ball, it was almost unbeatable if our players were playing it properly and no mistakes.
Yeah.
You had to cut out all your mistakes and your discipline had to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then it worked and it was almost unplayable. I think Steve's nailed a point there about, are these players a little bit too much mileage in them, maybe over the crest, whatever you might want to say. But again, now it's that try not to lose rather than try and win mentality. And as Steve says, even when Christian Wolf was there, he was winning everything. It was crap to watch. It was great to pick up trophies, but it was crap to watch. And I know Paul's always been a big advocate of, when Paul was the game, you want entertaining, you don't you? That's what you want.
I'd rather be entertained and go home and think, right, we've been beat there, but we've scored 4 or 5 tries and been beat by a better team, than go out, defend, and win by 2 points, 4 points to 2, and be bored for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
But the point back to Christian Wolf, we were defending really well, and we did have a bit of X factor because Wellesley was coming in by that point, and Lewis Dodd was playing at his best before his injury, and we had a lot of X factor players then. But on the backside of that, the likes of Wigan, Warrington, all your top teams are absolutely dreadful then. So now they've all improved, Saints have kind of gone backwards. So it's a different era, but everyone else has improved and we're kind of like non-improved. We've not followed suit, have we?
I've not seen the interview, but I got a text from Gaz, who's over in Saudi, said, did you see the Wellows interview? And I haven't seen or heard anything about Wellens saying that he'd much sooner have a 12-0 win than a match with 40, 50 points in it. And I think that almost a legacy of Wolf ball, wanting to grind out a 12-0 win instead of
if you take out the Hull and the London games, that's more or less what.
I think that's all right in a grand final or a big playoff game, but if you're playing week to week in the weekly rounds, as Paul says, you want to be entertained.
He's only seen 12 points because we can't score any more than 2 tries.
Which until now has been working because our defence has been so good. But against Warrington and against OKR, totally got shredded.
I think Paul's spot on there, and we've said it a couple of times. I'm loath to say anything against what Mike Rush has done at that club, because the last time we was in a situation like this, well, we're not even there yet, but last time we was in a sticky patch, lo and behold, Justin Holbrook was brought over. But I do also say, and I'm just a fan who looks from the outside, but I see the amount of players that have been moving on free transfers. And I know you've got things like salary cap and all that, but I'm a fan, so I can say what I want.
Whether you're right or not.
When you look at Jake Wardle, Adam Kieran, was it Sam Walters, the forward from Leeds? When you look even at more recent times, Joe Burgess, even dare I say it, Josh Charnley, these are all guys that have been moving round club to club free of charge and who are still scoring points and doing jobs that in areas that we're struggling with. And it's now, I don't know if anyone saw the senior lads for Castleford at week. I mean, that in his senior is a flying machine. He's a flying machine, and we've not got any pace at all. Now, surely that when people say we should go and sign Mikey Lewis from OKR, I think that's poppycock, to be honest with you. That's like saying Widnes are going to come and sign Jack Wells, but it just ain't going to happen, is it?
It's not a fancy team, is it? You can't just go and pick who you want. Mikey Lewis is going to be a marquee player for them, going to be a lot of money.
He's a Hull KR ball. He is to Hull KR what the likes of Roby and Wellens were to us, and he's going to be on a fortune. And the only place I see him going is Australia, unless you're going to dangle £1 million in front of OKR and £1 million in front of him.
Yeah.
I think it depends on OKR how successful they are.
Indeed.
If they start winning stuff, then they'll stay
he
there.
would, 100% he would. And then, but when you're talking about people like Innes Senior at Castleford, with no disrespect to whoever, but we're not. That's totally different.
When he left Huddersfield, I was very surprised we weren't sniffing about because he's a very good player.
And Jake Wardle was the same when he left Huddersfield.
You probably knocked me down here. I'd take Charlie next year. He's off contract at the end of the season. I would
Josh Charlie.
100% take Josh Charlie.
I've said this when he left Warrington, and even this season, us guys, I said it to some of the guys here that when Joe Burgess, I put in the same bracket as Josh Charlie. When Joe Burgess was released from Salford, why not? For 2 weeks, Joe Burgess didn't have a club.
Yeah.
He wasn't registered to any club for 2 weeks. I mean, I
think the thing is, no matter which winger you sign for Saints at the moment, you ain't going to get a pass.
That is an issue.
It's a big problem.
But is that because the centres or back rowers, whatever, don't pass to the winger because that's their style of player, or is it because they look there and think we haven't got any pace there, so I'm not going there? And if we had a Joe Burgess, would they then think, here we go, we can pass the ball there now?
Oh, I don't know, but it always seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when we in a game we might get 2 or 3 plays where we've got a winger with a chance of getting the corner because the way that attacks seem to move, nobody seems to straighten up, and their winger seems to always run out of space.
When you're outside Percival, you're not going to get a pass, are you, unless he switches back sides, which when he played inside Makinson a couple of seasons ago, Makinson finished his second top try scorer, was it? And there's no coincidence Percival's playing his natural side, and for some reason Wellens then puts him back. Is he on the left now? Is
On the left, yeah.
Percival Makinson combination
was fantastic.
Was ruthless.
He goes back inside every single time.
At the minute he is, because he can't pass the way he's, so why not switch him sides when he can pass, because Conrad can pretty much pass both sides.
What is a shame, which kind of goes in the face of what Steve said and backs up what Graham says, is not once yet have we seen Wonga with a donga get any clear space.
No.
We have not seen Wonga get, because at some point we need to see him go. And when you look at his physique, the one thing he should be able to do, well, obviously he can do something else, but
that won't really help us, that.
One of the other things that he should be good at is running, because he's built like an Olympic sprinter, isn't he?
Well, he's got a nice couple of tries at the weekend.
He has, but he's not even had 5 yard space.
No,
he's not.
They're not getting any space.
I think Connie tries to pass out, but it's like it's so rash. It's almost careless.
He's always a yarn from the touchline when he's trying to make the pass anyway.
Talking about Blake's try the weekend, the first one, that was the most impressive bit of play we put together for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we switched over, didn't we, to Conrad's side to the right, then switched the whole defence back. The next minute, Lomax did the cut-out pass to Blake in the corner.
Well, when I'm watching us, and I'm thinking, I don't like the way we play, but why have the opposition always got us scrambling to stop their wingman? We're always faced with teams that make the space to their wingman. We're Jack Wellesby or whoever's in the centre desperately trying to get over to stop them because they've made the space and got the corners, and we just don't seem to do that.
We did it twice in the first half on Saturday, and we looked good. Wellesby scored and Blake scored on the back of it, and then for some reason then we just put the cue on the rack and go, right, we've done that now. We was
moving the ball in our own half as well. Yeah. We was in our own 40, we was looking out either side, left, right. I think, possibly to your point, is what Steve said earlier regarding the Wolf ball. That's how we played under Wolf, but with that compressed defence, they were quicker, they were sharper, and they could get out and shut it down before it got that extra 5 or 10 yards at Ady.
Yeah.
And now it's getting ripped to bits.
Yeah. And then if somebody did make a break under Christian Wolf, a lot of time we had Regan, we had pace. I think the quickest player in our team at the minute is probably Jack Wellesby, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I know he can shift, but it's not. And going on with the recruitment side of it, get a bit of size in there. When we were saying about Mikey Lewis, you can't get him, and we said about Burgess and Chan, another one I think we could get and we could go and poach, and I dislike him immensely when we play him, is that Tom Amone at Lee. purely because
I went for half back then.
because he's big, he's nasty, and he takes some stopping. And it just shows you, no matter how many voices you hear saying, "Oh bloody hell, Big Al, you've dropped the ball again, you've not played." When he's not in that team, it is so noticeable.
And do you know what? I don't think it's just from his play.
He's a leader.
Yeah, and when he's not there, it's that. So, and I've said this about community rugby as well. Is when you've got that one good player in your side who's head and shoulders above the others. When they're not playing, it's not just about their skill. It's you knew you could rely on that person to get you out of the SH1T, as it were. And I think that's to a certain extent, because that game at the weekend, that second half when OKR started getting the momentum, I was looking around and saying it was just as though they hadn't got a clue what to do. Honest to God, which you don't usually see if you go. Even if somebody scores a try against them, it's like, okay, let's go back to the processes. Let's do. And I know it's a bit sort of boring in some respect, but they didn't even seem to be going back to that. Just to trying to be doing ad hoc things all the time.
I think in fairness to Wello and his situation, we are missing probably two of the best props in the league. And that makes a big difference to the way we play our game, I think. Without Wormsey and Parsley, we are.
And to an extent, not just once this season, but in the more recent weeks, we've only been playing with one half back. And Johnny can't do it all.
No.
Johnny can't do everything. And, I mean, especially at OKR, though, we were playing with one half back.
I think we should make the point, though, about our defence, that it is only getting shredded by teams who play expansively and have that speed. If you look at our record against teams that try and play up the middle against us and we're getting to a grime in us, they're scoring less than like 8-9 points a game against us.
Yeah, that's true. We've played two teams in the last 6 weeks that throw it about and conceded 71 points against those two. That was Warrington in the Cup and OKR in the league. But
we'll have a look at them in a little bit. Just
your recruitment side of things, Graham, is
just leading on to this. We'll talk about recruitment. I mean, the other issue. I think there's a rumour that Mr. Tommy's off to the south of France for a couple of years. I'm not sure that's confirmed or.
It's not confirmed, I don't think. But they're also linked with Ash Handley, so if they get both of them two, they're going to be handy, aren't they?
You see, the thing with Tommy, you see there with Lewis, it doesn't disappoint me him going. If Tommy was to go, it wouldn't disappoint me, but I'd buy him a gold clock because of what he'd done for our club. And if Tommy can get himself a couple of years in the south of France, and we know that Mr. Gouache gives nice pension packages to his players as well, I believe he's one of the only owners that does that, but like some McAlore and Tompkins, I know Sam Tompkins gets well looked after by Catalan because that's where he was for so long. Best of luck to him. But like you say, Steve, there about recruitment and wingers, unless we've got 3 or 4 kids in the academy, and I would trust that the club are pretty good at doing this, but if we've not, we need to do something sharpish, don't we? And the senior, that in his senior, Lewis, whichever senior it is that scored all them tries, he's the one I'd be looking at.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, like you were saying there, I mean, you got Ritson there who we fetched from Barra, and even he's not had a sniff. So if there's no youngsters coming through either,
his defence has improved. I think we can say that. I mean, he's not got many passes on the side.
But you can't blame him though, can you? Because like you're saying, a lot of the time he's either winger's not getting a pass.
I thought he stood up well on Saturday from what I've seen, to be fair.
A couple of good tackles.
He defended well, and like I said, he didn't really get the ball, but I thought he's definitely improved his defence.
I think we also have to factor in the salary cap issues. We've given so many big contracts out to the lads over the 4 years of winning the pots that we may have shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. But where do we need to strengthen? What's your view?
You're looking at it. If Blake's potentially not going to get another year, is he? The way he's playing.
Well, I think the rumour is he's only here for a year. Why waits for his RU contract to come in? I don't know.
Get what he can get and then go back home. And then you've got Conrad, who's up, is he?
I think so.
He is, yeah.
I'd give Conrad another year. I'd be happy to take him because every time he's got the ball in hand, not many defenders can keep hold of him. He showed that on Saturday. 10 metres out, he took 3 players over the line with him. His defence might not be great, but I think what he lets you down with in defence, he definitely makes up for in attack. Makinson's looking like a 2 to 3 year deal in Catalan, so he's basically I'd be looking at 2 new wingers and a centre. And potentially, with the way Walmsley is, another big forward, ideally 2 props, because we don't even know how Parzy's going to come back yet, do we? He's rumoured to be back for the Leeds game, isn't he?
I don't know, it's nothing.
Apparently I've heard a rumour he's back for the Leeds game, but...
It's only told me a few weeks as well.
Yeah. So, a couple of big props, 2 wingers and a centre for me.
Steve?
I'd agree with that, yeah, at least two or 3 backs.
Yeah.
Because both of the age profile and the lack of pace in that area, we need that, and as Paul says, Mickens is probably aware, and Blake's probably aware. Hurrell, I can take or leave. I am a little bit more worried about his defence. I think at the moment, especially, there's massive gaps on that side defensively, which is causing us all sorts of problems. So I'm not totally sold on keeping Hurrell. What do we do about our half-back with Lewis Dodd gone?
Well,
do we sign a full-back and play Welsby and Lomax in the halves together, or do we leave Jack Welsby there and sign a proper 7? I don't know.
To be fair, I forgot about Dodd then. I would definitely be signing half back. I know a few of you know this and by fan, but I'm not. If we go into next season with him at 7, I think we're struggling.
I think in amongst all this recruitment process, at least one of them needs to be a goal kicker. Got it. I mean, Lachlan Coote wasn't a goal kicker, but he practised to death. Percy's not a goal kicker. Makinson's not a goal. None of them are what you would call a natural. And I always think that because when you've got a natural goal kicker, a natural kicker, when his foot hits the ball, it sounds different.
It's like a golf shot, isn't it?
Yeah. When they connect and they hit with a sweet spot, it's a totally different sound than someone who's just kicking a ball and is. Obviously, Tommy's been good at it, Percy's good at it, but they're not like a natural goal kicker who's just going to come and ping. I think we went on about Mikey Lewis. I don't think he's a natural goal kicker.
Well, I'm telling you, in the reserves at the moment, Whitby is a natural goal kicker.
I'm hearing that more and more.
His kicking is lovely. He's about 3 paces, boom, it's right over the top of the sticks.
You see, then when it comes to recruitment, I know that there's a winger at Warrington who the Warrington fans are in despair because he is still not. His contract's up at the end of this year, and he will not sign a new contract with Warrington.
Ashton.
That's Matty Ashton. And then
we'll certainly take him.
Well, yeah, and then when you look at what they've done with what is it, Josh Thewlis, who is a goal-kicking winger. But I think when it comes, like we said the other week, when it comes to other clubs catching us up, maybe at one point the likes of Conor Wrench and Josh Thewlis and people like that, 5, 6, 7 years ago, Warrington had absolutely naff all set up for academy players. So they could have well ended up at Saints, but Warrington have caught Saints and Wigan up.
Would you take from an half-back point of view? Would you take Lamb from Lee?
If he's available, but
from what I can hear, there's a lot of people going from Lee next season. A lot.
I don't know if I'd sooner have Lamb or Moylan. I'm 50-50 on both of them. It's a shame he signed a new contract, but I'd a dabble at Sneed for a couple of years as well.
Well, he was the first one I was going to say, but as you say, he's just
signed a new contract.
I've always had a soft spot for Mark Sneed. I think he does a lot more in a game than kick the ball as well.
He does, and again, is it a case of we're just slightly off the mark with this recruitment that's going on, because these are all players that at some point in the last 18 months have been there to be had.
Let's flip this on its head. If you're a Super League player and you're a winger and somebody says Saints have offered you the contract, do you want it?
It depends what your situation is.
It depends
who you play for now.
Pardon?
And do you play for now?
But are you going to come to Saints for no passing and not playing, or in and out the side, or?
It depends on your situation.
Yeah.
If you're a Warrington winger and it's a straight choice, obviously we've just said there's one there that won't sign a new deal, but who knows why, then you stay at Warrington.
Yeah.
If you're a Hull KR winger, you might be tempted to stay at Hull KR. If you're Wigan, then, but anybody else, then you come to Saints. But what we've got to be careful of is if we don't start sorting these issues and sorting them quick, before we know it, this 2027 contract that Jack Welsby signed isn't going to be worth the paper it's written on, because he ain't going to want to be there. If he's playing in a mediocre, turgid team that's like getting into the playoffs and then hoping for 4 or 5 games to get to a grand final and win it, he ain't going to want to be there. And he is probably one that could put his resume into the NRL and have clubs queuing up for him. And I think he's got the cockiness, he's got the arrogance, he's hard as nails, and he's got the skills. I could see him following the George Williams path if he went to the NRL. But we have got to give him the team to keep him there and keep him interested. Because at the minute, I think somebody, I don't know if it was Paul that said it, that somebody said it recently, that he looks bored.
Yeah.
He looks bored in that team.
And he looks more frustrated than Dodd at the moment.
But he does. He's not in a good spot at the minute, but understandably so. But I don't know what you think of that. But I think we need to give him a better team. Otherwise, he might be looking at off skiing.
I think there's a lot in that. I think he's either frustration or boredom. But I think another issue for me is we've got all these players who play every week, and it seems to be the same 17 all the time. We need a bit of pace, and we haven't really brought any young backs through apart from Jack to one side and Lewis who's going. We don't seem to have a production line of young backs, but and people seem, or the argument against it is they're too young, or they're not quite ready yet. But neither were the kids at Warrington when they got put in.
But we haven't been bringing backs through, Graham, for years. We had Percy and Tommy, which were like gifts from the gods, especially Mark Percival. But other than that, you look at the other side at centre and the amount of players we've had and the different ones that have
brought
been.
Regan through, didn't we?
Regan, that's a great shout. But it's not that centre position has been a bit of a thorn for us. I mean, Percy's obviously he's been massive, but on the other side we've never. So when you look at the amount of different centre partners Tommy Makinson's had, to have the scoring record he's got, quite something.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on bringing young lads through? Or
I think you're right. I think there should be more of a focus on that. But I think the nature of youth rugby, academy systems, whatever, is that you're not always going to get a great generation of players. It's not always going to happen. So even if you're doing the hard work, I don't think that guarantees that you will bring through players of the quality that you need. So sometimes you have to kind of take it on the chin. I think with Warrington, I think you're right about Warrington. They have brought through some good backs of their own, but in the last few years they've taken the bit of pain for that as well. And that may be what we'd have to do in order to bring players through to our first team is have a couple of dodgy seasons where we're not really,
I mean, arguably we've not been ruthless enough changing a winning team. In the years of Liverpool's success and Arsenal's success when they always changed.
And that other lot we don't mention.
Pardon? And the other lot we don't mention.
Yeah.
They always, even though a winning team was always changed with 2 or 3 new bloods coming in.
You always have a spell, don't you, with different teams. Look at Leeds, the golden generation, when they brought through Peacock, Burrow, Maguire all at the same time. Saints have done it with all the superstars they brought through at the time, and then they had 10 years, 12 years of success, and each team will have a different period. So Saints might not bring anybody through for the next few years, but then there'll be another 4 or 5 years where there'll be a production line that will go on to be next 10, 12 years down the line superstars. So you just, at the minute, unless these half-backs come through, it'd be interesting to see what we do next year, because if we bring that young lad through, if he's ready, then fair play to give him a chance and let him go. But if we go and sign somebody, then that's then saying them lads are then going to be another 2-3 years down the line depending on who we send.
I think Leeds is a great example of what can happen when you've had a really great team and you're not sort of replenishing it well enough. They've been nowhere near for like 7-8 years since the last great team. They're in, what was it, 15, 17?
17.
They've not been anywhere near since then.
Yeah. But I think
is that going to happen to us? We're going to go as low as they've gone, or can we sort of arrest that?
I'd like to hope we could arrest it. Leeds are almost like Man United in the football, aren't they? It was nothing but a massive fluke that they got all them players in the same year at the same time.
Yeah. They need a bit of luck, I think, with the recruitment, the development.
Yeah, they got 10 years out of them, and it was the same players for 10 years, and after that they've had naff all. It was just a fluke. What Saints have done is, since 1996, had nearly 30 years of success built on bringing players through.
Yeah.
But this now is a test.
I think we're certainly,
because this well might be running a little bit dry, and that comes down to, as Steve said about the juniors, that other clubs have developed their recruitment and academy setups. We were like years ahead of Wigan and Warrington. 10-15 years ago we were miles ahead of them, but now they've caught up and to some degree overtaken us. So there is some hard work to be done, and there's some clever recruitment needs doing as well.
Isn't this that sort of not the hangover, but what happens when you've got a sport where you've got that salary cap? I mean, obviously you get the success. Obviously, for every year you get success, the year after you've got to pay your players bigger bonus, haven't you? You know, so the more that goes on, then obviously when you want to go and spend it on anybody, you know, suddenly you go to the coffers and the coffers are bare, and you're having to rely on to big players like, you know, you sort of, I don't know, you, like for instance, possibly going to Catalan. Makinson, yeah, who obviously is probably on a good wage. Yeah. So they must be looking and thinking, well, right, we can utilise that hopefully elsewhere. But that's, you know, sort of a byproduct of that.
Victims of our own success, in a sense.
I think there's a good case of that at Lee at the minute, because a lot of the Lee players who were so successful last year now are getting head-picked and going to different clubs for next season.
Yeah. I think Asiata's just gone to Hull, hasn't he?
I know they spent stupid money on him, but if that'd be a success, we'll soon find out.
That Asiata to Hull, for me, it just sums Hull up perfectly. That
I think there could be a couple of more going from Leeds to Hull as well.
I think Hull is if Hull get it right, we're all in the shit really, because if Hull get it right, they will be. I mean, Wigan think we're a big club. We think we're a big club. Hull will dwarf a lot of us if we get it right. Yeah. I mean, they've sold like 14,500 season tickets this year, and they've been absolute crap for years, and they still sell 14,500 season tickets.
Well, apparently Milo was trying to get Burgess to take the head coach's job at the weekend. Well, I don't think he took it because the little fracas in the tunnel as he was going.
I was going to say they weren't getting on very well with it. So.
Oh no,
it's become a bit of a poison chalice, that job, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It really, they because of the big crowd, because of the investment, they demand success, and they're way miles away from getting it.
Who's the only constant who's always there? Who's always been there? Pearson.
Adam Pearson. And to make things even worse, look at what Hull KR are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, Hull KR is just a little club on a big housing estate. That's all they are. Hull KR have always just been it. At one point, I believe it was the biggest council housing scheme in Europe. That estate where Hull KR's ground is, and virtually every Hull KR fan lives on that estate. And then they've got the millionaires down the road, and they're absolutely shoving it right up them at the minute, aren't they? They are.
To take Steve's point though about the, you know, the way that you may have an inevitable decline to some degree because you're paying players more if you have success. The salary cap is designed to stop what we achieved. Like that 4 year shouldn't happen in a salary cap sport. That's not what the sport wants. So it's going to be more difficult for us. You know, that's, I think, some sort of decline is inevitable.
In many ways,
you can stop it.
The only way we can refresh is by letting players leave at the end of their contracts. That's the only way. It's the only way of refreshing things.
Particularly because in rugby league, no one's going to come along and bid a load of money to take them off your hands. They're going to wait until they're off contract.
I think you've got, when we won 4 titles on the bounce, as well as the physical toll on the players, the amount of pressure that team played under 5 years, every single week, against every team they came up against,
wanting to beat them.
Every single match was like the opposition's final. So not just the physical toll, but the mental exhaustion that must put. I have no idea what it must be like as a top flight sportsman, and we all think they've got a charmed life, but when they run on that pitch and you've got 16, 14, 12,000 whatever Saints fans screaming at you, and let's be honest, these days half of them are bellends. When you listen to the garbage you listen to the garbage that they spout and the nonsense that comes out of the mouth, it must be so difficult for the players. And I think physically, but maybe mentally, a lot of them just look shot. And like you say, a big refresh might be the only way. And I think Steve's right. We've just got to take a bit of pain for a few years here. It's just unfortunate that Jack Welsby is probably as good as anything we've ever brought through, and in his prime, it's almost like Roby was.
Yeah. Well,
through them years when Roby was a youngster, and he was like
Roby carried us for 5 years.
He was like El Cid, wasn't he? He was like that.
Yeah.
It was just James. It was James Roby and a bunch of others, or James Roby, Paul Wellens for a spell, and a bunch of others. But I think we've got a bit of a situation on our hands, and
I think we could probably accept that if we weren't carrying on in the same vein. I think it's a combination of that and the style of play that's irritating people.
I was going to say, we go back to what we started, Paul said,
Yeah.
about entertainment. If we had at least that, we might be able to accept
Cope with it a
getting
bit
beat a
better.
bit more often. At the moment, we're not getting entertained, and then occasionally we're getting properly battered.
I think that's what any Salford fan would tell you, innit? Because they're a great team to watch, but they're not necessarily nailed on to win. But there's also an expression somewhere along the lines of the sign of a madman is to repeatedly do the same things and expect a different outcome.
Yeah.
And we're doing the same things over and over and over and getting the same outcome, and I don't know why anybody was expecting anything different. But yeah, the entertainment side of it, that's what I want now. If you got teams that are much better than you in the stakes for silverware,
Yeah.
then at least give your fans something to shout and cheer about, and the oohs and the ahs and all the rest of it.
But that's back to Jack Wellesby. The style of play we're playing does not suit him.
No.
That's why he's looking bored at the back. He's just going round, and straight away we're playing for the fourth tackle. Then we're going to have one tackle, we're going to throw the ball left to right. And then if he's lucky, he might get an inside ball or a drop off early on in the set. And apart from that, you literally count on the fourth tackle for Jack Wellesby to do something. But realistically, he should be getting the ball on the first, second or third tackle and being able to do what he wants.
I agree with you.
Teams should be worried about in every tackle, but they don't have to.
Yeah, and if you don't mix it up, then, like somebody said, everybody's going to telegraph what's happening, and you've got allowing that freedom. Well, it's the same as like we go on about the halfbacks. He's Dodd being coached into what he's doing, because obviously Mbide did exactly the same when he was a half. So you've got to look at, is the coaching stuff right?
Do you not think? I personally think it's too early to judge him. But do you not think? Would you get shut now?
I would. I just one season or 2 seasons.
His contract's up at the end of the season, but I don't think Saints will change. I think he'll get another 2-year deal, and we'll take it from there. But like you said about Wolf before, no coincidence, Wellens just followed suit on what we played under Wolf. And if anything, we've just trying to go more defensive.
Which is ironic, because that's not how Wellens played. Wellens was very much like Wellesby in that sort of respect, wasn't he?
100%.
You know what I mean? You could do like for like of the Val, their enthusiasm, how they wanted to get into a game, they tackle hard. This type of game that at the moment, it's for me that's not Wellens.
See Kieran Cunningham, same.
Yeah,
Played in loads of great expansive sides.
Yeah.
He wasn't a grind merchant, but as soon as he took over, it was 5 drives and a kick, wasn't it?
The frustrating
And then
thing
we lose
about
playing that way.
is we've got it in the players. The players can throw the ball around. We've showed that at weekend, and we showed that in past games. But we just, for some reason, it's like, right, you're only allowed to do that once. Let's go back to game plan.
I think this is a much better squad than Kieran's, and it's the fact that it's not changing. And then to hear Wello say that he'd rather have a 12-0 win than a 40 points to 30 defeat. Well,
there's 12,500 people who don't want that either.
Yeah.
Don't want that at all.
And I feel desperately not sorry for him, because that's the wrong word, but he isn't. I don't think he's not doing himself any favours with. It's like little things like the constant selection of one of my favourites, but I don't think Joe Batchelor's fit at the minute.
He's not had a good season, no.
Since he come back from his injury, but it's that there's nothing changing.
Not evolving, is it? It's not.
And he's not wasting Siren at the minute. Siren might as well not bother. Yeah. But he's one of those. Again, he gets the ball. He looks dangerous. He makes things happen. And if anybody's going to follow, if you're going to follow a play around, Wellesby's on the back of Siren, and things can happen.
The only thing with Siren, I find, is turning into a penalty machine at the moment.
He's a little bit grubby, isn't he? But that's. There's a few last year who were forever getting done for late hits and whatnot. That's got to be cleaned up by the coach.
Yeah, and some of the stuff is just daft little stuff, which you think, no, that's just schoolboy error stuff. Not, you know, even though you're a big bloke, well, why are you pushing a bloke down on his head when he's trying to play
There
the
was
ball?
a spell in the Hull KR game on Saturday where Bachelor gave away 2 consecutive 60 games, I think. It was, and they scored off the back of it.
Delaney's a bit like that. Delaney's got to learn. Well, we will talk about the game in a minute, but Delaney again, he did it away at Catalan last year and cost us the match, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But just to touch on what Steve said regarding Kieran was in the set, I think the two biggest difference for me is that Kieran's squad was a lot worse, and those of us that were sat in that room with Kieran and James Roby, when Kieran said that he never ever wanted the coaching job, but Eamon McManus asked him to do him a favour, and he cannot say no to Eamon McManus. Paul Wellens has made no secret that he wanted to coach that team. Kieran Cunningham never did. So Kieran's treatment was very harsh from the fans, especially considering the deck of cards he had. Paul Wellens has put himself in that position and put his head above the parapet, and fair play to him, got gonads for doing it. But when something ain't working, you've got to try something different, and it doesn't appear, as a simple fan, that that's what he's doing.
Yeah, this comes to my point that I made back in the day when we were at in a different venue talking about the Kieran days and all that, and my view was that anybody being promoted from, it's no good promoting people from within. If they are from within, they've got to have been away somewhere to find another way of things working, because if things suddenly stop working the way you've been doing them all that time, you've got no ability to sort of fall back on a different format and a different way of playing and a different system, or you've got no experience to change anything. And I think that might be a harsh criticism at the moment, well, I don't know, but I think it would have been better had he been coaching somewhere else or away, or a number 2 in Australia somewhere.
To be fair, the experience he's had before he took the coaching job, he can't get better. He's worked under Wayne Bennett, he's worked under Holbrook, he's worked under Wolf. Look at that for a team. You can't beat it, really, can you? So he has waited his time. There's no issues for me. The way he's cut it, the issue isn't just a style of play. Saints are meant to entertain. We haven't done for the last few years, and we said we didn't under Wolf, and it feels like Welland's just continued that. But Saints have got the players there to entertain, and if we do play expansive rugby, then there's not many teams that can handle us. It's just a frustrating thing of why have we gone back to, I know defence wins games, but also attack wins games. We used to play, you score 4 tries, we'll score 5, we'll win, but there's none of that now, because we don't back ourselves.
Is it, Paul, is it that mentality of we try not to lose rather than we go out and try to win?
Potentially, yeah. Then
almost a percentages game.
It is, well, isn't it now, percentage, isn't it? You look at the players and with all the body stat, everything's on stats now, isn't it? You listen to the clowns on Sky Sports at the end of the game, and John Wells reels off all these stats. At the end of the day, no one's bothered. You want the results, but it's hard.
Nobody's listening,
But it's, again, you do want the result, yes, but I would rather watch an entertaining Saints team and get beat, but then watch, do you know what I mean, get a victory and be really, really boring. It flips round. Yes, you can have that argument saying in cup games, let's take every 2 available, let's win the game. Yes, you want to win every game, but also you want to be entertaining and win.
Well, Paul, I can tell you now, mate, you're not on your own, because for the near 10 years that we've all been doing this, Ste Orford here has said exactly the same thing every single show we've done. He wants entertaining. When we've all been, hey, look at us, we're the tub thumping Saints, we've won this trophy, we've won that trophy, and he's like that, I just want entertaining. And you've always said
but when you win the grand final every year, you get hammered for it.
But the thing was as well, obviously you weren't here on the last podcast, but I said to the guys, I said, obviously all the games are being broadcast now. So if you've got a Sky account or the what is it called?
Super League Plus.
Super League Plus account, you can see all the games. And I said to Steve and the others, I said, do you know what? I said, if I see Hull KR or Ady O Sullivan, I'm on that, because I know, like you said, I'm going to be entertained. I'm not particularly bothered who they're playing, but I know I'm going to see some good
I'm exactly
rugby.
the same. You're picking 2 games a weekend, ideally Sullivan or KR playing on a different night. Like, brilliant, they're the 2 games I watch. Because you're entertained, and at the end of the day, it is probably frustrating for a Salford fan, because one week they're brilliant, the next week they're absolutely dreadful, but do you know what I mean, that's the risk you take, but it is entertaining to watch.
And you look at the league now, you know, and how it's poised, or so many on the same points, which sort of moving forward.
16 on 14 points, ridiculous.
Yeah. Which then, from an entertainment point of view,
Well, the salary cap's working then.
So far.
took its time.
We're only 10 games in, like, but,
25 years in. But again, from the outsider, they could then watch any game of what those teams are playing, and they know there's going to be some drama, there's going to be jeopardy on all of those. When in the past, it may have been us, Wigan, possibly Leeds, and then Catalan obviously coming into the fold. But it's sort of now that I suppose is what IMG have wanted. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not their influence that's done it. It's just by luck rather than good judgment. But it'll certainly help them. And like you said, from a watching and entertainment point of view, that's what people want. So everybody wants to win, but at the end of the day, if you can't win, you want to be entertained.
Yeah, 100%. From the top teams, really, the teams you just mentioned, Catalan, Saints, Wigan, probably not Warrington to an extent. They've tried to play a bit more expansive this year, but even Leeds, you can put a top on the same teams, and they play exactly the same way, just that they're different runners.
Yeah.
But where OKR, Salford, Leeds to an extent all play expansive rugby, and you're not sure which way the game's going to go. But we're, like I said, Catalan, Saints, Wigan, they all play exactly the same game plan. Wigan's got a bit more edge because if they get half a break field and French is straight down the other end.
It's almost who makes the less mistakes.
100%. And that's exactly what happened on Good Friday. Saints and Wigan just literally battered each other, and then you're hoping for half a break. Wigan were opening it from field or French, and we were opening it from Wellesby or an interception.
Well, I was having not a spat, but a discussion with a Leeds fan on Twitter, or what it was called these days, a few weeks ago, and they were saying to me, as a Saints fan, what do you want, entertainment or do you want trophies? And I just said both. So I want entertainment. I don't see why you can't win trophies.
Did they say you couldn't have that?
No, I don't see why. I don't see why mutually exclusive.
I'll be God's honest, this is the second season on the bounce now. If the North Stand at Saints was a terrace, I wouldn't have had a season ticket these last 2 years, because it's crap to watch.
That's the problem for the club. Yeah.
Now, if I give up my season ticket, I can't sit on my seat on the halfway line. The guys have been going with a match for donkey's years. And I don't like being behind the sticks. I don't want to be behind the sticks every home match. I want to be on the sidelines. It's where I like to watch my rugby. So when you say about entertaining and winning, we have been the most blessed generation of Saints fans that have ever walked this planet in what we've witnessed in the last 30 years by a million miles. So now, if we don't win trophies, but I've experienced winning trophies and been bored all season until you get to that playoff and that grand final, and I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to go and be entertained. If we've not got the players that we can be odds-on favourites to win it, then I don't want to watch what we're watching. So I would, as you said, you want to be entertained and win trophies. Stop being so bloody selfish and take one or the other.
Well, we've got the players there. We showed that against Penrith last year. It's exactly the same team. So I don't really know why we've changed
We showed it in bits of the first half. I don't care.
But very entertaining first half on Saturday. We threw the ball about. That Blake try was fantastic. Like I said before, pulling the team left to right, and we ripped them to shreds.
But what about when we played Huddersfield early season away? And we got in front and out comfortable, and then suddenly it just went boom. It was just like watching a different team.
Frustrating. Like I said, we changed our game plan considering who we're playing. Like I said, London at home and Hull FC, we didn't go for 2 after 2 minutes, did we? But then we play the bigger teams. It's like, right, 2 points. Every time there's 2 points off, let's take the 2 points. It messes up against Warrington in the cup. If we wouldn't have gone, we chose to go for 2, didn't we? And we're 15-20 metres out. If we would have took the opportunity there and scored, then the game completely changed and turned upside down.
I think the problem with us this year is we can't guarantee scoring.
100%. That's
2 points. Let's have a look at the stats. Let's do some stat work and look at the games that we've had in the last month.
John Wells.
Stat man. Yeah. Last time we were we were previewing the Challenge Cup quarter-final against Warrington. Saints 8, Warrington 31. Hoddle with a try for Saints and a couple of goals from John Bennison this time. 7 tries for Warrington. Williams, Harrison, Renge, Ashton, Thewlis, somebody else to give up. But 8:31 at home on a Saturday afternoon on BBC. What a shocking performance that was.
I think the main thing there, the big thing is at home. That is disgraceful. Honestly,
It was a shocking performance.
I think Warrington were really good, and we were lucky to only go in at that score at half time as well. The game, I'm not going to speak much about the game itself, I'll let others can do that, but the thing that disappoints me most coming out of that match was that since that match, John Bennison's never had another kick at goal.
No.
And he kicked 2 pearlers in that game, and we are desperately in need of a goal kicker.
Has he played?
He can't get in the team, though, and make a goal.
Well, he did play a couple of games, but then they put Percy back on goal kicking.
Well, wasn't he a full-back for one game and they took him off and put
After half an hour against Huddersfield.
Huddersfield,
And then didn't play at Hull KR at all.
No,
he didn't. No. But that game itself, it was a Sunday afternoon, I think, wasn't it? Not a Saturday afternoon. But you could see that coming, and I think we saw that coming in our preview show where we thought if they start throwing that ball out wide, we're in trouble. And hey presto.
What worries me about that, Graham, is that I think maybe, possibly, they have created a blueprint for
everybody
others
else
to do the same to us, and we could be conceding some big points in games to come against teams who've got, useful players in wide areas, because we are vulnerable, particularly that right edge of our defence is vulnerable. If you go to the middle against us, we'll defend it all day long, but on those edges,
Apart from Saturday.
it worries me. It worries me we could get heavily tonked at times, more regularly than we already are doing at the moment, and I think that might translate to a struggle to be in the top sort of 4 or 6.
That's a big worry that if that happens. I mean, at a minute we're joint top with half of the league.
I mean, it's so tight at the moment, so you can't really make any predictions, but it's a worry.
Paul, your thoughts on that game? Were you there, or what was the atmosphere like? I was away at the time.
Again, like I said before,
Didn't end well. Didn't end well.
you know me pumped up for a Warrington Wigan game, but for that game, there's just for me, there was no buzz about it. It was just like, straight away, Warrington literally come out, all guns blazing, they played a good attacking rugby. Like I said, their speed killed us. And then we changed our game plan compared to what it was the week before. Every time we got opportunity to take the 2, we took the 2. Didn't back our ability to score any tries. And literally, for me, that bit was on the backside.
You say about the atmosphere, Paul, do you think that's because fans were expecting to lose or struggle?
I think a lot of things...
Because I didn't think that before the game.
I think a lot of the time now, Saint fans are automatically expecting to win a game. Times have changed. We don't. At the end of the day, we can go to any team and turn over. I don't particularly think we're going to do well at Castleford this week, just changing this up. But people expect us to go there and win. And now fans literally spit the dummies out. Oh, we should have won that. We've got a right to win that. We've got no right to win any game. At the end of the day, if we're outplayed, we're outplayed.
Well, I think we got an artist kick good style there. And
the atmosphere against Warrington was, I think, another thing that let it down was the fact of what happened the week before, because the week before was Good Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the atmosphere there, it did, and then the Warrington came to town, and it was
I think the week before, didn't we lose at Catherine? I can't remember.
We did, yeah.
But it was the last home game, wasn't it? The last home game was the Wigan one.
Good Friday always brings the entertainment and the atmosphere. That's no matter what game, no matter if you're getting battered every single week, that atmosphere is the same every Good Friday. You go to Catalan, everyone's in a holiday mood, the atmosphere is fantastic. Come home to Warrington, normally you are, for the 3 games, that the atmosphere is the best, but also you've got to produce the goods on the field for the fans to back you. If you're playing awful rugby, you're not going to then get up for it. But it's one of them, isn't it? You've got to be playing entertaining rugby for the fans to get behind you.
I think the Wigan game as well, though, a lot of people said afterwards, or that they thought that had it not been for the red card for Liam Burton, we might not have
scored
won that game, even. Yeah. So, the signs were, we've been saying all season, the attack has been rubbish, so,
I haven't got as much problem with getting tonked at home off a Warrington team that was superb as I have with a certain result that we're going to speak about in a minute.
Yeah.
We have to admit that they were very, very good. They were.
Yeah. All right, fair. Well, we'll give them some due then. But we expect a reaction to that, and we certainly got it the next Friday with Saints 58-0 walloping of a very, very dire Hull team. Tries from Wellesby, Siren and Huddle, Percival, Batch, Bell, Lomax, Makinson, and Blake. I think Blake got a couple there, and goals from Tommy and Percy there. I think that was almost expected as a reaction, and it was expected against a poor Hull team.
It's a practice match, wasn't it?
It had the feel of a pre-season.
It was a practice match because Hull was so depleted, and they put a load of young kids out in that game, and they weren't anywhere near the standard. And to be honest, up until the last week or two, talking about Castleford and the draw they got with Lee, but before the last couple of weeks, because of the IMG issues, I think you've had 3 teams there who are well out of the depth, like Hull are one of them. They've got a couple of players back now, so if we play them again this weekend, say, it might be a little bit closer. But you still wouldn't expect Hull to get any change out of Saints, even a Saints who were playing off form. So beating them 58-0, we had not a lot to gain. It was a hiding to nothing, I thought.
Hull are in a lucky situation that because of the IMG thing and London being in the league, they can throw all them kids in. Because I'll tell you what, 2 or 3 of them kids that are going to be quality. That Charles, is it, the lad who wears number 40?
Jack Charles.
Number 6, the standoff.
Yeah, he's top class. And I can't remember his thing, it begins with M, his name, the lad who plays on the wing with the curly hair. He's
Lewis
another,
Martin.
He's another good one.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so that was back on the horse for a spell, and then a Thursday night game against the Giants, and I think this is a bit more of a bump down back to earth, 12-0 down after about 20 minutes.
That's the result that upsets me more than the Warrington one.
And then from what I interpret, a bit of a lucky break with an interception from Makins and brought us back into the game because we didn't look like.
If Makins didn't get that interception, Swift's in for another try, so it would have been game over.
Yeah,
it's just so frustrating to watch that first half, how they dominated. Realistically, Huddersfield should have backed us. Should have put the game to bed early doors, but they didn't, and they left it open for us.
And what's the irony with this?
Swifty's the top try scorer.
Well, not only that, who were the scorers for Huddersfield? Nagama and Swift.
Centre and winger.
So we beat ourselves up basically.
2 fast players who used to play for there.
Exactly, Would you take Swift back, by the way?
No, I would. But I mean, at the time, it was the right call to let him go because we had Regan Grace, and none of us really knew he was going to go to Rugby Union when he did. But now I would. Definitely, we've got no one better now.
Yeah, 100%. Swift, one of your top try scorers this season, isn't he? He's 5th. He's playing well.
I think Swifty scored for Huddersfield, but I also think he's one of the reasons we won the game. I think he's got too many mistakes in him.
I think so.
I do, I just do. And I think if we signed him back, he'd make 2 or 3 mistakes, and then it'd be all like, what have we brought that dickhead back for?
Saints fans like most players, aren't they? So.
And Graham's point, will he get a pass?
Actually, words out of my mouth then. I was just going to say exactly
but
that.
He can't. Against Saints there, he displayed the problem he had for us. He can't take high ball. He's terrible under the high ball. I'm made up his scoring tries because as a bloke he's an absolute belter. He's a cracking fella, Adam Swift, a really top bloke. But if we want a challenge for honours, Adam Swift isn't the winger you need.
Why weren't we pelting him with high balls that night then? I can't remember him dropping a high ball that night. Did we not put any up?
Yeah, he did. He dropped 2. But I don't think he's. No.
He should never go back anyway as a player. I don't think you're never going to be.
He'll never come back to Saints.
I'll tell you what.
The question was, would you have him back, and how would you?
As much as he annoyed me when he left and didn't retire, I'd have Kevin Nagama.
Oh yeah.
Even though that really annoyed me that he went on to retire and then came back a year after.
Well, he went to the Roosters.
He went play for the Roosters for a year, then he came back to play for Huddersfield.
I think that should be enough in a 2-year deal, probably. Yeah. That might be our own fault for not doing the deal.
Was that like a spitting dummy retirement, do you think?
Possibly.
Like, I'm going to retire now, so you?
Yeah, possibly.
But Saints have done that with a few players, haven't they, where they've offered them a year, where the player wants 2 or 3, but in the past it's worked for us, but the past few seasons some players have got away.
And I think that's what I'll happen with Conrad Orrell. I think they'll offer him 12 months, but I think he'll be looking for 2, and I think he'll get 2 somewhere else.
Isn't that what happened with Lachlan Coote as well?
Yeah. I think,
but then looking at Lachlan Coote's situation, as good as he was, it works out well with Wells, because if Lachlan Coote doesn't leave, then Wells doesn't get a crack that year.
I still go back to that old expression of it's better to let him go a year early than a year late. And I think with Coote we got that absolutely right. With Nagama, maybe we didn't. Swift, it's a toss of the coin. If it was to sign him, then you can't say, oh, don't want him here, don't want him here. But I'd look elsewhere before I'd look at Adam Swift.
Well, we're playing games now. We're always coming up against ex-players, aren't we? every game every game.
And they're normally coming back to bite on their ass as well.
There's a couple of Saints players in the game. I think there was 3 in the Salford game I was watching.
Yeah.
To be fair, going back to the third game, we've only got Jake Connors to thank for that victory, haven't we? Because without him, to be fair, we don't win that game.
I don't know what he was doing there with that Knowles incident. He just lost his marbles.
Another brain fart from Connor, wasn't it?
To be fair, any other player gets that decision. It's probably because it's Jake Connor who doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a penalty. He should have got the decision. But then before that, he was pulling Knowles' shirt, so he could have gone either way. But yeah, you don't just leave your post and go,
you're the
I've been
fullback.
slapped or whatever.
You're the fullback. You turn your back on the game and walk to the referee.
You can't do it. You can't avoid it.
Just writing this letter to the referee to tell him that.
Hold on,
in a
everybody.
nutshell, is why Jake Connors never fulfilled his potential, because there's too many other things about his game that are just, a bit balmy.
Yeah, if you focus on rugby, he's a fantastic player, but like you said, it's what he does off the field and the stupid errors he does on the field.
Well, ironically, that game put us 2 points clear at the top, didn't it? I think.
It did. I think we're top anyway, but no.
We're top.
What the actual gap was.
But then it made us look better than what we was.
Well, there we are. But we get down to the bump on Saturday. Hull KR 40, Saints 20. The stats: tries for Hull KR from Hall, Hadley, Litton, Hiku, Broadbent, Lewis and May. That's 7 tries conceded, and a couple for Huddle for us, 1 from Blake and 1 from Wellesby. But we don't often concede 7 tries, do we? And I thought that was
Do you remember the adage was, we only let 2 tries in and that's it. That's what we're known for.
Yeah, not anymore. Actually, half time it was 16-14 to OKR, and I thought we were unlucky. Only goal kicking stopped us going in with a lead.
The first half was good. I enjoyed the first half.
Very good first half.
And then I just want to flag this. I put a little asterisk on this. Morgan Knowles simbing him. I think he got simbing because he's Morgan Knowles. Because
I think there was head contact, to be honest.
Did you? I didn't see it.
I didn't have a problem with the yellow card.
I wasn't sure with that one. At the end of the day, when Knowles comes in, the player's already dropping. So I think I agree with you there. Where Knowles' reputation went above him there.
I've got no issue with it. I think it was, if not in the head, it was over the shoulders. Certainly high contact in that respect. I didn't think there was much of an arm wrap. And I think in the current climate, you're going to get binned off for it, aren't you?
Yeah, I thought getting away with the yellow card and no suspension after it, I was quite satisfied with that, to be honest.
Well, the fact that you got no suspension means it probably should have been a yellow.
I have no problem with it, Graham, that one.
I think what it is, Graham, you see that same sort of happening loads of those games that weekend out at any other weekend. Nothing happens.
I do think you're right when you say that maybe his reputation precedes him, and he might get been treated differently on that score. But again, whose fault is that?
Well, yeah, it's probably our own fault, but
It's Morgan Knowles' fault specifically. Because he is a bit grubby, isn't he?
Is it as simple that OKR match as the better tactical awareness at half time of the coaches?
Possibly.
Well, yeah, that's the point I'm coming to at half time, 16-14. Unlucky not to be ahead at half time and playing well. Actually throwing the ball around a little bit, as Paul alluded to before.
We had a spell in that first half where we were so quick around the ruck, and we were rolling them and rolling them, and it was brilliant to watch. And then we come out second, almost like Catalan at the end of last season.
What were we doing?
And they come out and again, was we out coached?
Should we have been starting with Clark instead of Mbai?
Yes, for me. Yeah, because I like the fact that he's got a bit more out of dummy half, which fractures the defence a bit more and gives you a bit more room to play.
You've got an argument each way, haven't you? Because whenever Clark comes on, for me, it makes a difference. So whether he's starting the game or he's coming off the bench, if he's coming off the bench, he's got a big X factor, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah.
No argument with that. No problem with that. I don't get why he's not playing.
Yeah. The other one is Sirenen. Didn't come on so really late.
That's what I said about before. I think we just wasted him at the minute.
Yeah.
But then we're playing Baxter, who's not playing great at all, and we're just wasting Sirenen there and just giving him minutes.
I don't know if I won't say we disagree, but we come from different sides on this, me and you, Paul, but I'd prefer having Mbai in the halves to Lewis Dodd at the minute, because Lewis Dodd isn't offering us anything. At least Moses. I know you've got 2 9s on the pitch then, but
we
it
said this
offers us
before,
something.
the game plan's exactly the same. So if Moses plays there, then he's doing exactly the same as Dodd, just put a bit more out on his kicks.
But he will take it to the line more. It's like Theo Farge offered us naff all really, but he had gonads the size of a gorilla, and he would take that ball into the teeth of a tackle and let it, just like Johnny Lomax does. Lewis doesn't do that. And I think it's something that, because I honestly don't think we're getting anything from Lewis, and that game was the biggest example of it, when you've got a kid of the same age, if not younger, playing the same position for the other team, who's just was mesmerising at the time. That bit of play from Mikey Lewis for the last try of Ulcat, oh my word, that was incredible. That was top class.
That's what you want from your half-backs, but we're not getting anything from Lomax at the minute, apart from defence. So
It's too formulaic, our half-back play.
Is that back to the coaching? We've seen one cut-out pass when we played our most expansive bit of rugby on Saturday, and Blake scored in the corner, which we pinpointed before, and Lomax had the miss-out ball, Blake in the corner. But apart from that, Lomax has been defence. He's been very good at it. Well, he missed 2 tackles on Saturday, didn't he? But apart from that, past weeks he's been very good, but we've very rarely seen Lomax doing any miss-out balls, and it's kind of like, again, back to have he been coached to play that way?
For me, I mean, that second half, I've written down here in my notes on it, errors, mistakes and penalties. In that second half, we fell apart, and we just caused 80% of those problems in the second half ourselves.
It's what they've been, like we said before, it's what they've been told at half time. Okay, I've probably been told to come out and throw the ball around and stretch us around, and we've probably been told go back to basics and defend.
And lie on. And you can't tell George Delaney to lie on, because you tell George Delaney to lie on, he fetches his duvet with him. And he's knackered.
I mean, they were getting quick play the balls, which the word might have gone out to slow it down, and then. But they're slowing it down, aren't they?
I thought Matty Lee's had a good game, by the way.
I was just going to say, he's got a double do there so he can fit Lee's in.
I think Matty Lee's and I think Sione this season, Sione Matauti has been, and again, even in that performance at OKR, I thought Morgan Knowles, even I know he got his yellow card, but he tried hard. He put it in. But I think Matty Lee's and Sione Matauti, quality.
So I promote recruitment for next year. Apparently he's going as well, Matautia. So again, rumour has it retiring.
Retiring? He's 27, 28.
It's a rumour.
Wow.
Taking his family back to Australia.
It sounds like Nagama syndrome.
But he will be in 18 months.
To come back and sign the whole.
I think actually we also have to give OKR credit similar to Warrington. They played very, very well. I think.
They were great.
I think they're the real deal. I think they'll be up there all year.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think we said it. Somebody said it before. It's the blueprint for beating us. And they looked at the Warrington game and thought, right, okay, this is what they do. This is how they do it. Let's throw it, get it wide.
And do you know what? I think that same blueprint,
I know what you're going to say now.
if they play it well, will beat Wigan as well. I think you can use
they beat them the week before they beat us.
Yeah, I think you can use that blueprint against, because I think Wigan are pretty much what we were 3 years ago.
I said the same. Wigan, Catalan, Saints.
You said it before.
All the top teams play the same way.
You swap the jerseys over,
And you wouldn't have a clue.
But I think the answer for us is to change that now. It must be.
We've got to.
We started off, and we started in Matt Whitley, didn't we, on the edges? Fantastic line runner. And scored a couple of tries, and then for some reason we've gone against that now. He's just an 80-minute battering ram.
It's like we've reverted to type, and it's. Hang on a minute. We've gone away from the Christian Wolf blueprint here. Let's get that blueprint back out again and go back to that. And teams have worked that out.
We've not seen Willow's own mark on the team yet, have we?
No, I don't think we have. No.
We saw Justin's own mark on it, which was mesmerising. We saw Wolfie's own mark on it, which was ruthlessly efficient. It was unbelievably efficient.
Yeah.
And it's like Willow's, just like you say, it's almost like he's trying to carry on that Wolf ball.
Well, I think his biggest mistake so far is that he's not brought his own ideas.
No, you're spot on there, Steve. Spot on.
He's just tried to carry on with the same formula that's been successful for Wolf, and it's starting to sort of not work because of the issues we mentioned before about the age profile of the squad and lack of pace and this and the other. I think he needed to do something different, and he hasn't come up with it yet. Whether he will or not, or whether he's capable, I'm prepared to give him time. Other people have said maybe not.
Oh, I'm prepared to give him plenty more time. I just because I fully accept that we are in a big transition. Yeah, we must be in a transition.
I
That's what
agree.
we've done.
I agree with Beech here. I would be more than willing to give him as much time as he needs if we see some change.
Yeah.
And not necessarily victories.
No.
But let's just see him
Some attacking rugby, yeah.
trying
Some
something different.
entertainment.
Trying
I
something
think
different.
It may be the case that Wello himself thinks he's got to carry on this march of the trophies, and it's not going to happen. It's going to take him 2 years, 3 years to get his own team running and to get him playing the way he wants.
Maybe
to play.
he is worried about that.
Yeah, I think that's a concern to him.
If and when the trophies dry up, if it's on his watch,
Yeah,
he'll get the sack.
and I think he shouldn't be thinking that.
If we did bring somebody in, who would we bring in? And they're also going to need time to change things, aren't they?
Exactly.
So I am happy to give Welland a chance, but I also want to see some entertainment on the field, not just the rubbish we're watching at the minute. And it's not just like I said this year, it was last year as well, but we just handpicked, I said, a couple of performances over the last few years, and we've entertained, so why can't we do that every game?
Maybe it's a change in the back room that's required to bring somebody in with a bit of more attacking flair.
What we all comment on, and Darren said it on our last show, and we all said it, was for that spell of time, that 8 weeks when Laurent Frenier went back to France, we suddenly played a different style of rugby, and it was just Paul Wellens and Matty Smith. That was the only people who were running that team, and we played a different. Now, whether that was coincidence or not, I don't think any of us have got any idea about that. But if it was coincidence, then let's try sending him back to France for another 8 weeks.
Has he got another appendix?
Yeah. And see, because one thing with Paul Wellens and Matty Smith, between them and the Wigan teams that Matty Smith won 2 grand finals at Wigan.
He did, yeah.
Playing boring rugby.
Yeah.
But between those two, the experience of the British game those two have got is incomparable.
Yeah, and I went and I saw the game when the final when they played Warrington.
That was there, yeah. I was there.
And do you know what? He just controlled that game. His kicking game, his vision, and ironically, I got a couple of free tickets for it. So we were up in the gods, which was probably good actually, because you could see the play and everything open up and develop in front of you a lot better in that respect. And Matty Smith was unbelievable.
But what you've had with Matty Smith, he's always had an X factor play with him, hasn't he? So Matty's controlling it, very much a Sneed, Sneed kind of player. Matty will organise, kick a team to death, but he's got that X factor player who'll then go and make the break.
You see that's what I mean. You see people say, bring Lee Breers back from Australia because he's a kicking coach. I don't think people give Matty Smith credit for what a good kicker he won. When he was at Wade, he won 2 grand finals. Lee Breers never won a grand final.
Didn't he beat Salford with a last minute drop goal, if I remember correctly?
Breers was handicapped by play for Warrington, though, to be fair.
True that.
He's a Haydock lad, isn't he, Breers? Is he Haydock lad?
He's from somewhere, I'm not sure which one.
No, he's from Alderhay Road, isn't he, Breers? Same as Paul Wellens. He's not the same street as Paul Wellens, I think. He knows them all.
But having said all that, if you're Lee Breers, you're sitting there in Brisbane Broncos coaching box watching the game in them massive big stadiums. You're getting Brisbane Broncos playing some fantastic rugby. You're going to stay in Brisbane, aren't you?
Well, we're going to come back to Super League.
I
want to come back
I
to
would be staying there if I was him,
He would be absolutely crackers to come back here in.
Yeah. I would think so. All right,
And
let's
if the option is Hull FC, I'm definitely staying there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a toss-up, isn't it? Finger post or Bondi Beach, whatever, yeah.
They'd have a job. Bondi Beach isn't in Brisbane, is it?
That's Sydney, isn't it? Yeah, sorry. We'll edit that bit, Steve. Edit that bit out, yeah. All right, let's have a look at the next 3 games that are going to excite and delight us in the next month. I think we've got a week off because of the Cup the week after next, but we've got Castaway on Friday. Worryingly, Cass started to show a bit of form at the weekend and played really well for me. With the twins on the wings, aren't they? Twins on the wings, yeah.
Cass have done a bit of good business recently. I thought with bringing the lads brought in.
Texoy is it as well coming?
Texoy, the Lewis Senior and
Innis Senior.
Centre. Lewis, Innis was on one wing, Lewis on the other, and they've brought in the centre from Hull KR, who was at Wakefield.
Is it Tanganoa? Is it Tanganoa?
Corey Hall.
But the way they had Tanganoa.
Is it Corey Hall?
Corey Hall. But again,
right.
a young lad who's not really had a chance at OKR, but a very good player. So I think for Cass, they've brought in players that they needed, and there's no coincidence he started performing.
I think McShane's back fit as well, isn't he?
Yeah, is that Corey Hall? Is that the lad that is a good goal kicker as well?
I'm not sure, mate. He come from Wakefield.
Looks like against Lee.
I think Lingard's done a great job in a really, really sorry situation at Castleford. I think he's done a sterling job. But all that being said, I think it's a must-win for us. That
I think it is.
I think. I mean, we're going to touch on the next ones, but I think the next 4 games are must-wins. But that really is. If we go and get a pump in there as well, then
Talking about like fans and that taking things for granted, Saint fans will go there on Friday expecting to batter Cass, and I think it'll be anything but. I think Cass will really put up a good fight, and it'll be a close game.
Yeah, because like what you were saying before about the blueprint scenario, they're going to have looked at that and think, hey, can we do this?
We can do this.
Yeah, can we do it? Because it's one of those small tight pitches, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's
we've nobody that had catch senior. If
The back line's very fast. Lewis, Innes, and Tex Hoy.
Do you know, on Saturday before our game, before their game against Lee, if you'd have asked me, I'd have said Cass is an absolute gimme.
Yeah.
An absolute gimme, definite 2 points. Now, it's not beyond the realms that we lose there. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was 50-50, but I'd say we're not overwhelming favourites at the moment.
No,
I'd say
not the way
maybe
we're
at 60-40.
It's a worry that going to Cass is a concern.
I don't. It is this season, but historically, going to Cass could always be a banana skin.
Yeah.
But I think this season it's kind of levelling it out because we've come down to their level a bit.
I think they've improved, though. Well, the performance against Lee suggests they've improved.
Yeah, he's done a good job.
Yeah.
They're on the up. They're on the up. I think the week after is the cup weekend, isn't it?
It is.
Semi-final weekend. Yeah. So
we won't get beat that week.
We get a few days off. We won't get beat. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe that's the weekend the players should have been given out.
I bet we don't win either.
Maybe that's the weekend we should have given the players off instead of giving them a weekend off against the OKR prior to the OKR game. However, following up from that 24th, we've got Leeds at home. Ady's favourite team. Who were again in and out. They've lost more than they've won again.
Do you know what? That could be a big game for Leeds, because if Rowan Smith loses that one and things have not gone well beforehand, he could be on his way. Do you know? I reckon.
How long has he been there? Now I'm surprised he's still there, to be honest. I mean, they're underachieving so badly, aren't they, at Leeds?
Yeah. Considering they were going to, win everything that's, X Factor, the lots,
Especially the money they spent, they should be. But again, you don't know how can you coach against Leeds because you don't know what you're getting.
Well, for half an hour against us, they gave us a right going because they're throwing it round.
It's whether they've learned anything from those 2 games against us earlier in the season about how to beat us. If they try and play the same way against us, I could see us winning it. Not massively, but by a decent
score.
2 scores, say. But if they come at us in the wide areas, they get Ash Hanley back in the side. And,
that young lad on the wing, he's a decent lad.
I think they've got a chance, but they've got to learn lessons from the 2 games they play against us so far. And what's with these fixtures, by the way? Playing Leeds for the 2nd time in the league in the first 11 rounds, and there's other teams we haven't played at all. Plus, we've played Leeds in the cup, so
yeah.
I think Warrington have played Catalan 3 times,
Bizarre, isn't it?
By the time we play Warrington in the league for the first time, they'll have played Catalan 3 times in the league.
It's mad.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
I think we need a win and we need a performance against Leeds. We've got to hammer them pricks there. We really do. We
just for Eddie's sanity. Nothing else.
We need to establish.
Get Eddie on the Saints marketing for that game.
We need to re-establish ourselves here now. We're starting to look a little bit. Castleford, who knows what's going to happen, but Leeds at home and the following, we've got to do them 2 teams. There's massive pressure on us for them. Our next 2 home matches, I believe. I don't know what you men think.
End of the month, the game before we're back is the Catalans at home, the return game, as I say. Cass away, Leeds home, and Catalan home. It's a massive month for us, and we've got a week off in it.
I've been surprisingly bad though the last few weeks. They got knocked out of the cup by Huddersfield, and they've been convincingly beaten by Lee. 30 points to 2, I think it was, and then they got done over by Wigan last week, so they're not playing.
They're not playing
particularly
great,
well.
are they?
So
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a few injuries, haven't they, at the moment? But it just shows, like Lee at the beginning of the season, they're getting their players back now and starting to get things together. And it happens to everybody at the end of the day. So, I know Catalan, they were in a similar sort of boat a couple of seasons ago. They had a lot of injured players beginning, but then got them back and did a push. So, you never know, do you, in that respect?
I'd rather play them this week than in 3.5 weeks' time when they've had a chance to, get themselves back together. If they get back to top form, that's
There's no holding them then, is there?
there's a very small chance of us winning that game, I think.
I think about the 2 shows ago, back in the beginning of April, we were saying that April was going to be a massive month for us, and now it seems to me that May is going to be an equally important month.
Yeah, but for the opposite reasons.
Yeah.
April was a big month because we had the big guns. We had the Leeds, Wigan, Warrington.
Yeah.
Catalan, which up to the cup match was was 3 stonking good results.
Yeah.
But now after the
two
Catalan and Warrington OKR games, these next 3 or 4 games are big, but for totally different reasons. But I don't know what you think. I think there's massive pressure on us for them 2 home matches to both perform and get results.
And Cast this week, again, it's not a given, and we'll turn up, and if we don't play rugby, they'll beat us. So we've got to turn our game plan round and start entertaining and throwing the ball around. It's not even about entertaining, it's literally just throw the ball around and play rugby. And if we play rugby, then we'll turn a lot of these sides over. But if we're going to continue to play 4 drives, a drop off, a bit of expansive rugby on the 4th tackle, then we're not going to do anything, are we? But if we start bringing back the little rubber kit behind the play and change our game plan up a bit, bring in the likes of Wellesby out the back and Clark and Bell playing a bit more expansive, then we've got a chance of beating these teams.
You've got to make them think, haven't you? You've got to make them think of what's going on. And like you say, at the moment, it's so predictable.
He's just Paul's just mentioned James Bell there. That is a very common theme that you see everywhere, and I don't know what you guys personally, but I think is, well, I was even reading on social media, fans of other clubs cannot understand why we're not starting James Bell at 13 and using Morgs as a prop. Even fans of, I was like chatting with some OKR fans that were just bewildered at why James Bell isn't starting.
Especially with Morgs out.
Yeah, why isn't he starting at 13? Because they're more afraid of Morgan Knowles at prop forward than they are at loose forward.
Yeah.
And they're more afraid of James Bell at loose forward than they are on the bench.
Well, all the games that James Bell has come on, he's changed.
Yeah.
So why isn't he on to change? Probably because he changes the style of the team too much for somebody's liking.
We play alongside Clark, and then we get a roll on. We push on and start throwing the ball about and playing a bit more expansive rugby. Follow Bell, he'll get the offload,
which brings Wellesby into it.
Brings Wellesby on the back of that, and then you bring your centres and wingers into it. But again, I don't know. It's again what they're being coached, because we started off the season like playing very well. Bell was coming off the bench, or Bell was starting playing off the back of Clark, and we're playing some very expansive rugby. But it's like we get so far, and then we drag back and say, like, let's go back to basics. That's not in the game plan.
It's almost as if we're putting the shackles on ourselves.
It's almost like we're doing something that's working, but we're not used to doing it, and we shit our knickers. And it's like, oh my God, we can't do this. This is working. Let's change it and go back to percentages.
Back to reset to default, and it's not going to work, is it? So anyway, there we are. It's another interesting month ahead, and hopefully we won't be as downcast at the next show. I will not be with you. I'll be on with Jollies, and Steve's going to survey the wreckage next month.
Steve's going to bring us all on holiday.
We'll be on a beach. We got to Southport Beach.
Get some sand on the floor. Yeah. So thanks very much, lads, for this month's contribution. Steve, thanks very much.
Thank you, Graham.
Ady,
thank you.
Paul,
thank you very much.
And Steve, thanks for the work on the buttons and your contribution, mate.
No problem at all.
And we'll see you all again, or I won't. We'll see. I'll be waving at you with a pint in my hand on the beach, and I'll see you in July, chaps. Ta-ra.